on. Okay. People are signing on. I'm opening my beer. It is a beautiful Wednesday here. Hello, Kevin. Let's go ahead and get you joined in here. Hello, Aaron. Okay. My glasses are steaming up a little bit. Kevin, if you just accept the invite, then you will be able to join our Instagram Live.
All right, got it.
Hello! Oh my God, you look so cool with your sunglasses.
I appreciate it. I'm outside.
Oh my gosh, I love how you're like, I'm outside, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna stay inside, minimize any noise. So I'm so happy you're outside. What are you drinking?
Truly.
Oh, there you go. I've got a Sierra Nevada.
Okay.
Slightly sour ale.
Yeah, so as soon as you said, oh, I have my beer, I was like, oh, this is a truly happy hour. Let me go get something.
I know. I've had lots of people on here. You don't feel compelled that you like have to drink. You certainly don't need to, but I appreciate it. So just for as people join and definitely on the watch back, I want to go ahead and do a little intro of you.
Okay.
So Kevin is a 31-year-old who has a Bachelor in Science with Community Health and Health Promotion from Winona State, as well as a Master's in Healthcare Administration from Southern New Hampshire University, and you have lived in Rochester for the past 7 years. Kevin and I actually met through a mutual friend, but I love this story. We met first when I was doing an escape room, and I became like mildly obsessed with you. You don't know this backstory. You were so kind and so nice when we came to do the escape room, and our mutual friend Ricky was like, oh yeah, I know that guy Kevin. And I actually don't entirely know how you and Ricky know each other. And I was just like, Kevin was the best.
A year ago.
Yeah. Seriously?
Yep. I got the memories of the graduation that I met him in. That was today, last year.
Oh my God. Yes. So anyway, I was just so pumped. You were so nice. And so every time we would talk about the escape room or someone nice, I'd be like, remember Kevin, we need to talk to Kevin. So yes, so that's how Kevin and I have connected. But since then, it's been really fun getting to know you and to get to hear about your kind of health and wellness journey. So I'm interested, how did you get into this field?
Kind of long story short. So when I went to college, I was a computer science major, and knowing that I couldn't do well, not that I couldn't do well, my advisor said I couldn't do it on time, and I was like, well, I gotta switch majors. So I did clinical laboratory science, but I knew I wanted to do something like in health science, something with healthcare and technology. So I ended up graduating with healthcare, or not healthcare, but community health promotion and computer technology.
Awesome.
I try to make it work.
And then what made you go to get a master's and go with the healthcare administration piece of things? Did you do that immediately, or did you kind of start working first and then get into that piece?
I started working first, but honestly, I had a lot of support that said, like, as soon as I came to Mayo, they're like, hey, when are you getting your master's? Obviously, I'm a procrastinator, so it's like, well, soon. But it was supposed to be in public health, but meeting another mentor who had healthcare administration, like, and the kind of like the positive changes that you can possibly do at that position, or like,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I did healthcare administration.
Very cool. So just because some of the people, again, don't know you personally, you
Yeah.
work at Mayo Clinic in Rochester right now. You're kind of a jack of all trades because, as I said, I met you at the escape room, but you're like
I like
full time.
I work.
Yeah, say it again. Sorry.
I said I work a lot,
Yes, you do.
working somewhere else.
Yes. So, but your full time job is at Mayo. And what is your title there?
Service specialist at the Healthy Living Program.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what that means is kind of like you're the middle ground between the provider, like the physical therapist, exercise specialist, resiliency specialist, nutritionist, and the patient. So you kind of do the administrative work of that and maintain like relationships.
That's really awesome. You're kind of like this liaison, and I imagine a lot of that is helping the patients feel engaged.
Yeah, definitely.
And so what are like, what are some things that are helpful to keep people engaged? Because I know I've started following you more and more on Instagram, and I love I almost feel, and maybe you're not purposefully doing this, but some of the mental health aspects, I almost feel like you bring in, or at least for me, what you're sharing is I'm always like, oh yeah, that does make me think and that does make me happier. And when I'm happier, I like to engage with exercise more. So I don't know if that's what you do with people, but I'm interested how you help engage people.
I kind of go to like a common level with people as far as, especially what's going on, and especially right now. Just going to a simple level, just going back to like square one, like, hey, be compassionate, like you are okay, and like talking to yourself like the way. Actually, let me go back. You would never talk to yourself the way um, you would never talk to your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kind of like your best friend is supposed to be yourself, and like
Mm-hmm.
your self compassion the way you're supposed to be about yourself
Mm-hmm.
is number one, because you have to fill your cup up first.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that's kind of a learning thing that I've learned to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because if it helps me, if I'm like, wow, especially on Instagram, I will post it. I'm like, wow, all right, sounds good.
Right. That's awesome. So, what do you think are some of people's biggest stumbling blocks? And, like you said, especially nowadays, first we had COVID, now we have a lot of protesting, a lot of systemic racism. And so, I think people in your job are important now more than ever to act as that liaison to keep people engaged, but also help them feel welcomed and make sure that we're truly getting that outreach. So where do you think people's stumbling blocks are with being able to do to be able to engage?
Um, to be honest, I would think, on a broad sense, is probably going back to what their normal is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll even go past COVID. Like, I was kind of going a step harder with, like, 70. It's called 75 hard. Like, drink your reading 10 pages of a book, um, nice diet, 2 times a day. You're like working out once outside, even in the winter. And so, like, I already kind of flipped my world. So once the world actually flipped,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, okay, like, continue.
Right.
You already kind of had your own peace. You're
Mm-hmm.
like, I already made myself uncomfortable. We're already in an uncomfortable world.
Right.
Imagine that kind of energy.
That's really cool. So kind of one of your best suggestions, it sounds like, is almost before shit hits the fan, so to speak, like what we're seeing right now, is to, use exercise, mental fitness, behavioral changes as ways to lean into that discomfort. So when life gets really crazy, like it is now, you have more resiliency.
Correct. You're
Yeah.
more, to me, it's like being poised, being at one, to where you are not like, oh my God, like, I don't know, in the moment where you're like certainly triggered and
Mhm.
decisions such as like all the toilet paper left,
Right.
literally, you're like,
Yes.
I'm gonna grab what I have and like, I'm sure they'll renew in 2 weeks,
Yes.
whatever. And like, I never ran out of toilet paper, I just grabbed what I needed.
Right. Yes.
And then,
Totally. And then, so what do you think from if you flip it, how do you think as providers or as institutions, because I know many people that are on this platform or follow me are on the reverse side. They're maybe not the people that are engaging from a patient side, but they're maybe a provider side. How can we better engage with patients or clients or whomever?
um, I would say your energy, what you bring every day, it's kind of like a brand. Like people will remember that. It's the whole Maya Angelou quote. Even like in, for instance, like when George Floyd thing happened, like on that Monday, I went to work Tuesday. It was a huge day. So not to bring that in, but
No, that's okay.
still brought, I still brought myself. I still brought the enthusiasm and everything. Was I exhausted after it? After the whole day? Of course.
Hmm.
The patients and everything never, they wouldn't be like, is he affected? No, because
Hmm.
I had a kind of a one, like, I'm going to bring it, even I had to breathe. I'm like, it's not their fault. It's
Right.
not they're not a part of this. Just
Hmm.
like, separate that.
Right.
We didn't do that, but for like 100 and some patients that we saw.
So, what are some things that you do to kind of help maybe cleanse or clear your energy to have that, to be able to kind of bring some positivity into your workspace?
It's definitely the separation of what's going on.
Hmm.
I do practice like meditation, which is super important because it separates yourself from the situations, like
Hmm.
perspective. And like one, I do guided meditation. Um, so one of them is like, you know, you're looking at a river and there's leaves, and those are the situations that you are looking at, and they're just, but you are not in the river. You're just looking at everything just passing by, and like in that stillness, you are, that's you truly without your attachment to all those leaves that like. Because in the morning I'm like, all right, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? This, and that. But like separating yourself that like right away in the morning, you're way more poised.
So, do you, so I love that you're talking about a meditation practice and a morning meditation practice because anyone who knows me well knows I'm not entirely a morning person. I want to be. I so badly I want to be. But I like this morning, my boyfriend woke me up and I was like moaning and groaning. Like it was 7:45, okay? It wasn't 5:45. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can laugh all you want, okay? Okay.
I did.
So so like how much time do you allow for your morning meditation or ritual?
So there are, at least to me, a structure. So like every day it has to be at least 10 minutes, and I even do it in the shower.
Oh, I don't think that's weird.
I sit there. I don't sit there, but I stand there, and I have it playing in the shower where I can breathe,
Yeah.
and like if my muscles are sore or something like that, I just like focus the water on like that. But um, It's like at least 10 minutes, but if it's been a hard day, then I'll do 20 to 45 minutes, like at
Mm-hmm.
night. So I have a lot more like rest, meditation,
Mm-hmm.
actual, I don't know, like just a lot of rest ones. Like, oh, you're resting.
Yeah.
I like the ones where you're like kind of just separated and stuff. That's a good one. And then I also have audiobooks that are about compassion.
Oh,
I
that's cool.
play right after that. So like it's kind of just like a more engaged thought.
Mm-hmm.
By
So
the way,
have you, oh, sorry, say that one more time.
everyone, I'm a nerd by trade.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I think that's like a really good use of time because when you're in the shower, it kind of sets the scene and sets the stage. It makes you definitely more efficient. And if you're getting it done, and I'm sure as you, like you said, being that liaison between people and keeping people engaged, a lot of times it's there. People struggle with, well, where do I have find time to do this stuff? And it's, I always am trying to say, you don't need to like create or find more time, but can we layer things? So oftentimes I couple diaphragmatic breathing with their stretching. So you're just coupling your showering with your meditation, which is really, really cool. Now, what I'm interested to know, what app do you use for your meditation?
I use Audible, and it's everyday meditation. And I kind of just, depending on what, because I've been through 1 through 21 on both of the free things that they have. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
I just know, like, do I have 15 minutes? All right, 15-minute one, day 5 or day 10. And then if I have, like, 0 time, I'll do an 8-minute, like, day 1, 2. But, like, that's better than nothing.
Mm-hmm. That's really awesome. Do you find that patients are open to doing more like mindfulness work? Because I feel like that's a big piece of health and wellness, and oftentimes something that's underlooked because patients, at least for me, are always like, I used to play football and I just have to get back to working out. And I'm like, well, maybe we need to do some stress reduction and some walking. So, do you feel like that's something that, from a community perspective, people are open to?
I think they're open to it, but I think their capacity for, so like I think about it as a sport. Like if I want to get good at soccer or anything like that, like I have to train.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you want mindfulness, you have to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
So like, are you going to practice? Or not?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I can be very critical.
You just go up to people and you're like in their face for meditation, which is kind of like the
Yeah,
opposite.
I'm like it. It's a very, because people want it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say like you have to. You really have to do the work.
Right.
The mind is super important to you. Like I would almost say that's like 50-50 with like the body.
Interesting. Now, did you come to that conclusion through your education, or has this been something you've come to kind of professionally or personally?
I would say education, but personally, because the mind, here we go. The body will quit before the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like yesterday, I ran 5 miles. It was super hard, and then my body wanted to quit because I knew like I haven't done that in a few weeks. We're out here now, but at the same time, like I even took off my headphones. I'm like, music's not going to help me right now. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
need to like be present on what's going on, listen to myself, and say like, we're not stopping until we get home.
Mm-hmm.
And then we didn't stop until we got home.
That's awesome.
Even though I was dead, but like we didn't stop. That's the whole point. It was,
Right.
yeah, one goal, one
That's
simple.
awesome. So I'm also interested to loop back to something you said, which is you specifically listen to audiobooks about compassion. So where did that piece come in for you with mindfulness? Was that because I also heard you said you're very critical. I'm guessing critical of yourself. And so where did that piece for listening to books specifically on compassion come in as part of your journey? And yeah.
I read a lot of get hard books as far as like mental toughness, because like that's also my, if I can I swear in here?
You can swear.
All right, that's my shit. That's it's like getting tough, like mentally, because obviously like your mind is everything. Like if you want to do stuff, like how to navigate things, um, but at the same time, you can't always be like that, and then you can't always be like that with other people.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking about the broader perspective, so you have to be compassionate. So like, I will only do compassionate stuff like in the morning because I want to be kind to myself. Like, hey man, wake up, you're cool, you woke up,
Mm-hmm.
thankful. But like in the middle of the day, if like somehow it's a Saturday and I'm like in the shower, like I'll listen to a David Goggins book, Get Hard, or not Get Hard, but Can't Hurt Me,
Mm-hmm.
like that, or a it's like a leadership book by Jocko Williams,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, like kind of more military stuff because it's like straight edge. Because that will get you there, but you have to be kind to yourself.
Right. So how has some of this compassion work played into um, some of the work you've done now at Mayo? Or maybe hasn't it?
It has just know
Mm-hmm.
from like meeting them halfway, not meeting them halfway, but meeting them where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
They're they come and they're like, I'm having a really bad day. Like I've had really bad days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can we bring that up a little bit? Like how can your perspective be a little bit? I'm not trying to carry you. I'm just trying to like it was better because
Yeah. Um, I think that's so cool because oftentimes I think people who come into the healthcare field oftentimes are very type A. And so part of one of the reasons why I wanted to do these happy hours and starting to talk with people was because one, I wanted to highlight other professions that are in the healthcare realm and other people that can help you along your journey. So yes, me as a physical therapist, I can be very beneficial, but also engaging with someone like Kevin, who can really help be that liaison and help kind of tie everything together, can be super huge and important as well. And I think it speaks to your education and then all of this personal work that we do to really expand and help people stay on their path to wellness. Because I can't tell you how many patients have come in and they tell me I haven't done my exercises and they thought I was going to yell at them. They were like afraid. And
mm-hmm.
like I didn't yell at them and I just said, okay, like what happened? What was the stumbling block? Did I give you too many exercises? Was it confusing? What happened? And they, because I typically see a lot of women, they like will start crying. Usually the guys that I see are like, well, I thought you were just gonna yell at me or something or nag me. And I'm like, no, I wasn't gonna nag you. Like, we're here to get you better. And
Right.
so I think that's why I think I've never read any books on kind of like text specifically on compassion. Um and but I have read like I've read my fair share of self-help books, and that's really helped me because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh God, if I have to do this, I'm sure everyone else is. So I think that's really cool. Now, another thing I want to ask you about, because I'm fascinated about this for you, and I've heard this like through the grapevine, but never from the horse's mouth, and that is your 75 alive. Is that what it's called?
So
75
75 hard. Yeah.
70, 75 hard.
Yeah.
So where did you, so if, first, if you can kind of explain what it is. I know we like kind of touched on it, and I want to like loop back to it.
So 75 hard, made by Andy Frisella. He's kind of the first forum CEO, a bunch of other CEOs, I guess. He has like 7 companies, but I listen to his podcast, Sponge. He's kind of a blue collar, realistic dude who I agree with.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came up with this last year. I did 30 days of it, but like it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Especially at like 2020, even before, it was after Kobe. Actually,
Okay.
because that was the whole premise.
Kobe.
Like Kobe died, that was Mamba,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought of like all the stories that I've heard of, like him being at the gym at 3 a.m. and stuff, and obviously I'm 30, so I'm like, yo, you got to do this shit now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a level up
Mm-hmm.
challenge, because you will
Mm-hmm.
level up so many ways where it'll affect what you do for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. And so it
Yeah.
was exercising twice a day, clean eating,
Yep.
drink a gallon of water,
Yep.
no alcohol,
Yep.
and
Twice a day working out, once outside.
oh, once you had to be outside.
Yep.
And was there any other, could you have sugar, or was it
Um,
just eat clean?
just eat clean.
Okay.
Yeah, and then 10 pages a day from a book, and then I added on an hour of Audible every day.
Wow. So how did you find time? How did you find time to do, like, I love working out, but sometimes um, life gets in the way. Maybe I allow it to get in the way. I allow it to get in the way. I deprioritize working out sometimes. But so how did you kind of make time for all of this?
So back in the day, like when I actually had a desk job, I just put the time in, like the blocks where I needed to do it, and then
Mm-hmm.
super organized. So like my watch has like, hey, you should do this. It's time to do this. I'm like, okay. But at the same time, just optimizing your time. So like, I live about 3 miles away from work.
Mm-hmm.
If I need a 45-minute workout, I just walk home.
There you go.
45 minutes, especially in the winter, like, because being outside every day when it's like, you notice when it's 9 degrees, you notice when it's 22 degrees. It's
Right.
it's a pretty big difference. I'm like, oh, it's kind of warm.
Right. That's really
Good
cool.
time to do it. It's a good time to do it during the winter.
I really like that challenge. My gung ho Laura says I want to do that, but then also like it's summertime and I like my happy hours.
Yeah.
So if I did it, I'd have to do a modified version.
And the thing is, he stresses don't do a modified version because that's the whole point.
I know. And I don't think I'm ready to level up. Isn't that what you said?
Well, I've known a few friends who tried it and were like, we're going to modify it. I'm like, the point is not to. I've tried to modify it. That's why I did it for 30 days. And I was like, well, this is really good. And I didn't get the full thing until it's like 75.
Right. Did
So
you
I was
make
like,
it 75 days?
huh?
Did you make it 75 days?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And how did your girlfriend do with that? Were you like happy the whole time?
I was very focused. So, like, if I haven't done my workout outside. I was like, I have to do this right
Okay.
now. Or like, because I got all the reading, I got everything else done pretty early in the day, but
Yeah.
ooh, it's 9 o'clock. I haven't done anything. I gotta go.
Yeah, BJ's, my boyfriend's always like super on board to encourage me to do stuff. And then suddenly when I'm like, I need to do this, I can't do that other thing with you. He's like, oh, are you sure? Are you sure you got to do that? I'm like, what? I'm so confused. So another topic that I wanted to talk to you about is because one of the themes for this month is men's health. And so I know you had seen, I tagged you in some of the stories, and I think it's really interesting when we sort of divide things out for like women's health and men's health, because I've always been someone who's actually almost preferred things that are labeled as men's health and like things that are labeled as like women's health or maybe more women specific training. I'm always like, this kind of sucks. Like it's not hard enough for me, and I don't mean any offense by it, but it doesn't, it's not super enjoyable. But I am interested as someone who is this connector, this liaison, someone who's super kind of fitness and physically oriented. Do you see any specific struggles for men in the wellness space?
Mostly mental health.
That is so. I wasn't going to guess you were going to say that, but I love that you did. Go, keep going. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Um, like it's a super stressful time
Hmm.
for all men. Uh, everyone. It's a super stressful time for everyone, but as far as like the stereotypes of men, like being like bread maker and all that stuff, like everything comes up, and I really think that everything has come up as far as like everything is optional. No, like everything is not a stereotype. Everything is just like it's a crazy world. Anything can happen. So why we should question why are these stereotypes happening? Or like, so if I'm the bread maker, like it's kind of hard to explain, but like everything is up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
So every, especially men who are like, I'm supposed to be this person. What if I'm not that person anymore?
Mm-hmm.
What if I got furloughed? What if I got fired or anything like that? Like I'm no longer that person. Like that's my identity. So that's why I think everything's in the air, and like when things come back down or like a little bit down, people will assess where they want to be.
Mm-hmm. Have you had any friends who've come forward or maybe already and openly talk about feelings with you? Because I think that's something that I've seen more with like my boyfriend. I've seen more with my dad, that not that they're coming and talking to me more, but I see them reaching out to other men and being more vulnerable. And it is really interesting because it's not something that I saw necessarily last year or the year before or the year before. Um, and so it's a shift.
Mm-hmm. Um, for me personally, I've seen a tremendous amount of people reach out and talk about their emotions, and again, tying into meditation and just being like present for every the mindfulness. You have
Mm-hmm.
to be present to everyone's conversation, not mixing in the emotions, even though like someone might say like I love Trump or something like that. I'm not saying anything crazy political, but like if you get triggered by that, you can still be mindful of that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, a lot of people have reached out.
Mm-hmm. And that's really, I think it's really neat. Like I said, I knowing you outside of this Instagram live, I know that you're always such a nice person when we talk. You're always so open. I always feel like I can hit you up for anything. And so that's where I think it's obviously so easy to interview you, but it is very interesting because I think I know for my boyfriend, like when Kobe died, that was like, I mean, pivotal pivotal for him, and it kind of like cracked something open. And then just with like the pandemic and the this and the that, it's just been this like and it's kind of like a floodgate. And so
Yeah.
um I, I know I think it's challenging because many men go to like exercising and lifting. And so that's where I thought it was so interesting when I said, like, what's the biggest struggle in the health and wellness realm? And you were like, mental health. Because I think so many guys are like, oh, especially as they age or get older, like you were saying, I need to level up. I have to do this. But it's a huge mind game piece of things.
Yeah. I know a lot of people have like home gyms and stuff like during COVID, and did a bunch of like videos, but for the majority, they don't. So I
Mm-hmm.
think the best thing you could do possibly there is just like sharpen your mind the best you can.
Right. So, for men who are maybe just kind of dipping their toes into this mental health realm, what might be some easy starting point things for them to do or go to?
As far as for like mindfulness,
Yeah, like either
um,
mindfulness, reading, education, whatever you, and we can, and then the nice thing is when we share this on YouTube, we'll go ahead and link everything in there. So yeah.
yeah. First of all, I would say just like be super comfortable talking to like your best friend about your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So you put it out, so you know like what you feel, and then at the same time you will um, you usually go like to apps where it's easier. Like for me, it's like Audible 21 meditation. Like it's just 21 days of like it just builds up some different mantra, different like ways of meditation, different like styles. Because I think there's 8. Um, and like there's Calm app and all that stuff. So like you start building that up. It just doesn't happen that you're all of a sudden like mindful or like, oh, I know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have to put yourself out there. Like actually, I should probably work on this part. Or like even if you have a mindful friend, like why do you think you feel like that?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever questioned this? Like think about it this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the first step. Like what's
Right.
for you to like go towards that.
I honestly did not know that Audible had like a 21-day meditation thing because I use I'm familiar with Calm, Headspace, and then Insight Timer are the ones I've utilized. But I love knowing that Audible has that because I mean they have so many great deals for like joining, and I think a 21-day thing is nice because it I think it's like 20, I think it takes like that's how much time it takes to build a new habit or something. So it's short and it's simple, and then like you said, it's something that you can revisit. Are
Yep.
there any people on Instagram or any podcasts, again, for people that are kind of dipping their toes in that you might recommend as you know, because I know there are definitely, I definitely have some people that I follow that I'm like, I really like yoga. And there's like some people that are like really intense and they're way out there and I love it.
Yeah.
But like for my friends that are just going to dip their toes in, that's not for them. So do you have any that you might suggest as
For
good follows?
mindfulness,
Yeah.
I actually don't. I don't listen to any podcasts about mindfulness. Maybe Jay Shetty, but it's more about happiness.
I mean, I'd take happiness.
He kind of has like a mindful way about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even on Instagram or anything like that.
Um.
And I totally put you on the spot. Apologies.
Yeah. It's
Basically,
okay.
I think the gist is just follow you because, like I said,
Yeah.
you've been filling that for me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like mindfulness and all that stuff is on you.
right.
So obviously, I would say they're biased, but they have an agenda. They have like a business. Like they're trying to make some money. Like you really can't be authentic with the mindfulness and all that unless you cultivate it yourself.
Right.
Like
I
less toughness, I'll give you all the podcasts,
right.
books, self development, like all that stuff. I'll give you all the books, all the pro podcasts, and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
I think with meditation, it's just that's you.
Right. I actually kind of like that because sometimes it does feel very gimmicky. And with something like meditation, it is such a sacred space. I right now my meditation practice has fallen out of practice, but I have gotten to places in time where I've been able to sit for like 50 to 60 minutes, and it's almost addicting because it's like I would do, like, once I started to work up and I got to that, it was like this, once I got to 45 minutes I could have done it for ever. And then I kind of felt bad because I was like, am I being sedentary for too long? Like I have only so much time to do in a day, but it was like it felt so amazing. And I think that's why why I personally like using so many different apps, because then I don't feel like I get stuck or tied into one person or one system, and I can kind of go to whichever one I'm feeling for that moment or that day. So I really like challenging people to explore what works for them.
Mm-hmm.
I also think what's really a good thing and what's worked for me when I've been working with men, and I don't know if this has been the case for you, Kevin, but ones that are not so much visualization, like, oh, you're in a beautiful forest and blah, 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 but ones where it's very physical body oriented, where it's like you're feel the weight of yourself on the chair, and focusing in on the breath, and then kind of getting that body awareness, and then latching in like maybe like you were saying, a stream or clouds or something like that, but not going on like a whole journey through the forest, just like a little piece of the forest or the beach or whatever to help with those thoughts that come and go. But for men, I have always found that they really enjoy that, like rooting into their physical body and then focusing on breath from there. So that's been something that I've found helpful.
I think I agree. The more of like the awareness of like your body, like where you're at. It's all about yourself. Like, especially like that's what you're supposed to do in the beginning of the day, and just like focus on yourself, and then you can. I don't know. Oprah said, "Fill your cup up first," and then I've listened ever since. I think she said that like 10 years ago. I think that's
I love Oprah. I had, and maybe this is a take on what Oprah said, but this other lady I said was like fill your cup up, and then like give to people from your overflow, instead of like giving people like the dregs of like the last little bit of your cup. And so I always am like, okay, I've got to like fill this cup so the overflow is what I'm giving to other people, and not like anything from my actual cup. But it is it can be challenging, and I'm interested to know, working in a major medical institution, do you do you feel supported in like keeping yourself mentally well at work and physically well at work? Do you think that the space that you work in allows for that, and or do you think that it's more challenging in a bigger institution?
I think just on the awareness, I need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That is my goal. That is like I want to be one of the best, wherever I'm at, especially with patients and guests and stuff. Like that's just me. They're not
Mm-hmm.
like impactful, but
Mm-hmm.
very genuine and like nothing else in the world can like is around us except for
Right.
us present. And am I supported? Sure, because they see like the reviews and stuff, and they see like when I take off patients are very thankful.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like physical and stuff, like maybe not. But
Yeah.
it's kind of a personal goal thing.
Right. I always think the what I always encourage people to do when they're at larger places is to make sure you're setting good boundaries, because I think that sometimes when you, like you were saying, you want to be the best, you want to do super well, it can be sometimes challenging to know when to like set that boundary of like, okay, it's time to go home, or like, okay, this is, I need to get into work at this time, not 30 minutes earlier. And instead, maybe I can use that time instead of getting in 30 minutes earlier to use towards my, physical health or mental health. So I always kind of like to ask people, and I haven't had anyone on here yet that's worked for like a major medical institution. So it's kind of fun to get to ask like how you feel that is integrating into, into that space.
Um, so it's interesting because obviously, as I said before, you want to be the best. At least I want to. That's just because of different realms that you may be perceived as.
Mm-hmm.
If I walked up to someone, like someone would say like, "Hey, I am African American man." Depends on like the face that I have. Like I try to do like bright eye bushy tail all the time. Like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
enthusiastic, let's do this. Like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disarmed like right away.
Mm-hmm.
Enthusiasm will disarm a lot of things. Um, so like I'm always conscious about like what people perceive me as, especially on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
People ask like, "Oh, can I see Kevin?" Like right here. I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." Which is I love seeing their faces, but I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all the time."
Oh my God. That is so crazy. That's just so, that's just so interesting to me, because it's like, it just really shouldn't matter, because you're like a nice person who's knowledgeable and equipped with education to help meet their needs. So why does it matter?
Person in my dialects can call it.
Right.
Have to be conscious about like those things all
Right.
the so we're always looking at like how things are coming in, and, like how we can filter that to say like your 40% like we'll match that with 8% or something like that. Like
Right.
overwhelmingly, but like not too overwhelming, but it's very general.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think there was this movie and I can't remember what it was, and I really wanted to see it, but it was this guy who was a telemarketer, and like he had like one voice, and it was like very like sounded like he was like in like maybe the hood, And then there was like his white person voice that sounded like he was like on this like,
thanks for asking, or thanks for calling, or something like
yes,
that.
I really want, I missed it when it was in theaters. Like when I went, I was like, okay, I'm going. And my friend was on vacation. I was on vacation. We wanted to go together and we missed it. And so I want to see it so bad because it looked so funny.
Okay.
Did you see it?
Wait, yeah.
Oh, I think someone said Get Out. Either they're saying Get Out, like, or if they're saying the movie, that movie was also incredible. Have you seen the movie Get Out?
Tons of times, yeah.
Okay. I loved that movie as well. Well, I appreciate you taking this time to talk like with my community and with me during this like insane time. I know you and I had talked offline and you said you have been really taking care of yourself. So I certainly appreciate you like just taking the time to speak with us. I think you're an extremely knowledgeable person. So if anyone is interested in learning or knowing more about Kevin, give him a follow. I see that you said, I thought that was the name of the film, not the one with the telemarketers. That was a different one. Kevin said that. So like listen to the replay. Oh, thanks for calling. Kevin, you said that. Thank you, Kevin. And
Wait.
we're going to go ahead and put this on YouTube and I'll be sharing it out with my newsletter. So it sounds like when I talked to you, Instagram is mainly where you're at. And we talked about maybe doing a guest blog in the future. Are there any other platforms or anything that people can interact with you on, or mainly Insta?
Mainly Insta.
Okay.
That's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kevin, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your evening.
You too. Thank you.
Yes.
Later.
Bye.